So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Huub den Rooijen, Head of Offshore Wind for the Crown Estate. Thank you.
So thank you all, Maria, and thank you all for bearing with us until coffee. It will be brief and it won't be painful. Despite, I have to say, it sounded quite ominous, the prerogative of the sponsor to have the core address, so it will not be a commercial break, I can assure you. Indeed, very appropriate to be in Manchester. Manchester is a city which is quite close to a place called Bolton. And Bolton is a very special place in my heart because in many ways it's one of the birthplaces of UK offshore wind. Because in Bolton, almost 13 years to the day, the first two monopiles for offshore wind turbines anywhere in the North Sea were fabricated. So the UK manufacturing industry in the North Sea, in Bolton, started out to lay the seeds for offshore wind anywhere in the North Sea. So those two tubes were put on trailers, were trucked across the Pennines to Hadrian's Yard in Newcastle, where they were outfitted and loaded out on a vessel from AMEC, installed at Blythe, where they are supporting two Vestas turbines that are still proudly generating 2 megawatts, each of them. And the companies participating there, Vestas, AMEC, Secor, they're all being the companies in the supply chain, still very active today. The sponsors of those projects, E.ON, it was a time of whatever the weather, in the reincarnation of PowerGen, Vattenfall, at the time in the persona of a Dutch company called Nuon. Those companies were still very much active in the sector, and they are amongst the largest players to this very day. So when you look back history, it kind of looks interesting. And the title of the speech is 1341 and counting, 1341 and counting. And some people said, is that a date in the history of the Crown Estate? And I said, well, we do go back a few years, but we normally don't look back that far in history. And besides, we don't find history that interesting either. We rather look forward. And 1341 is the number which, to this day, is the committed number of operating wind turbines and those in construction and committed financing in the UK North Sea sector alone. So 1,341 offshore wind turbines, which I find a huge number, so very impressive growth. And I'm sure if I would ask Maria, then the number of attendants to the RenewableUK offshore wind conferences have shown equally impressive growth. So we've got this enormous growth over the past years. We've got a fantastic pipeline of opportunity. Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, England, all around the shores. And as Crown Estate, we're very proud to be co-investing in some of these developments, for example, 3, and we sometimes do tend to forget in the office that some of these projects are very real investments by the Crown Estate. So the met masts that are going up in the round 3 projects, there is a significant co-funding from Crown Estate, and we were very pleased to see a very innovative met mast installation being installed by the Wind Consortium on the Dogger Bank, one of the most remote meteorological stations in the world, installed with a very innovative human-free installation method. But equally, we see first, for example, in the Outer Moray Firth, where EDPR and Repsol submitted the first round 3 application for consent almost a year ago, last summer. So huge developments. All the ingredients are there for growth. Now, it is true, we have positioned the UK as a world leader, but being a world leader and looking at your historical record means nothing without looking at the future. And we have a very strong and very real opportunity to capture the opportunities here in the UK and use it for economic benefit for supply chain companies in the wider markets across Europe, Asia, and North America. Now, where we are right now feels as if we are at a very interesting moment, pivotal moment for the industry. We have come a long way. We have industrialized a long way. Yet there is also a sense that the next 12 months are going to be really crucial for the sector to almost capture the sustained growth and demonstrate that it can deliver sustained growth. Now, we've heard Maria speak about three crucial issues for growth. I'd like to give you 4 ingredients on growth. And I think the first ingredient is very clear. It is sound government regulation, which is very much on track, as we all heard the minister say, and it's a confident supply chain. And we trust that the sector strategy that is being delivered will provide the confidence that the supply chain needs to make the investments that are required to bring the UK content into these projects. The second ingredient is a strong pipeline of opportunity. Now, keep in mind, we've got the biggest pipeline of development projects. At the moment, on round 3 alone, the investment in development exceeds £250 million. So it's a huge investment in development already, and the opportunities are there. We have the biggest pipeline. But big alone is not enough. It also needs to be strong. And as the sector is reaching a much more sophisticated understanding of the challenges of developing and investing in offshore wind, it is affecting the timing of the projects in the pipeline. And we welcome the project that RenewableUK is carrying out with the Programme Board, the Timelines project, to provide a more sophisticated understanding of the timing of these projects. And we will continue to work with developers over the coming year to ensure that the timelines in their contractual agreements that they have with us are ambitious yet realistic, so that suppliers, the developers, investors, and other stakeholders, consenting authorities, that they have a credible view and a clear view on the actual opportunity out there and the actual speed of the build-out of the portfolio, so that the signals that go to the market are much better quality signals. And this ongoing process will continue, that the pipeline that we have is not only awe-inspiring, but will also inspire some business. The third ingredient for success, and it's something that I believe the industry really is something that is on its agenda to address, is to create a climate for continued learning. We have to foster continuing innovation. We have to make sure that we are able to drive costs down and drive cost out through sharing of the lessons that we learn on these projects. Because we don't carry out that many projects either, and the experience that organizations build up often stays within those project teams. And we have to, I think, reach out much more to our colleagues and our peers in the industry to share what went well and to share what maybe not went so well. And rather than trying to gloss over some of these areas where there have been project delays or where there have been mishaps or unexpected events, we need to grow into the habit of sharing these with each other, because only then can we truly create a climate where, for example, construction risk, one of the biggest obstacles for our sector. Another key area is O&M, and we have more operating turbines, more export cables, more array cables, more offshore substations than anywhere else in the world. And the operating experience that that is giving us is unparalleled. So, I'm very pleased that we are today launching 2 publications that are centered around O&M. The first one is a guide to UK offshore O&M. It is a report that we are funding together with Scottish Enterprise, with the support of the Highland and Islands Enterprise, and it is really aimed at new entrants in the offshore services sector, where there is a huge opportunity. And keep in mind that O&M costs on a life cycle basis represent about 1/3 of the unit cost of offshore wind, and that it represents about 1/3 of exposure hours to staff. It is a huge area for reducing cost, for improving safety, and for driving the industry forward, also as an export business. So local content, very strongly, O&M is its natural home, and we have to build out from there. I'm also very pleased to announce our first operational report. We have made a small report, which I would welcome you to pick up at our stand, which is really looking at the performance of the asset base over the past year. And it is a report that we intend to issue on an annual basis with contributions from our operating partners, which again, in a spirit of sharing the lessons learned, sharing best practice, will ensure that we are positioned to grow our business on the basis of the experiences that we have. Now, I come to the final point, and that is very much, it is demonstrating progress on the cost of energy, which is, of course, absolutely crucial, sometimes sounds very abstract, but in many ways is also very simple to understand. There is a turbine manufacturer on the market whose 3 megawatt wind turbine with a 108 meter rotor is looking fairly similar to a 6 meter version with a 150 meter rotor. So the cost reduction that is embodied in that is tremendous. So cost reduction really is within reach. And what is required is that we have the facilities for components to be tested, for demonstration turbines to be installed, to be worked through their certification paces. So we need to be able to provide locations and opportunities for testing and demonstration. As a result of an industry engagement exercise, we have been carrying out this engagement exercise over the past year, and I am delighted to announce that we are today launching a new leasing round, opportunity round for demonstrating and testing of technologies. It comprises, if you like, three main components. And of course, what I should say first and foremost is that the success of the established demonstration sites at Narek and at Aberdeen Bay are of course crucial. But in addition, we see a need, and the industry sees a need, for further demonstration. So one component of that is variations to existing agreements, because very often it is cost effective to deploy new technologies, emerging technologies in the context of existing offshore wind farms. So it is a call for variations to existing rights, so that new turbine models can be installed at existing or at newly being developed wind farms. The second component is a non-grid component, which is really encouraging the testing of all those technologies that do not require a grid connection. And industry have been telling us that there are a lot of places where they would really like to carry out some work in or on the seabed, and we very much welcome them to come forward to us with their initiatives. And the third one is floating. And floating technologies have seen a very impressive development over the last couple of years with the demonstrator projects that are active on a couple of locations in the world now. They are really demonstrating very good potential for future cost reduction. So with an eye on the future and growing even beyond the current pipeline, we're also issuing a call for the testing of floating wind turbines in UK waters. Now, this program is something that we work very closely with the Offshore Wind Program Board, so that it is embedded in the whole cost reduction methodology of the sector, and it is opening the doors to further steps in reducing the cost of energy. And with that, I would like to conclude this address. So it is a pivotal time for the industry, and we are all looking very much forward to the legislative packages that are coming our way this summer. As a UK, we are in pole position, and the opportunity is there, and the next 12 months are going to be crucial for us to grasp the opportunity. So let's make sure that we do get it, and that we continue to position the UK's offshore wind sector as one which grows from its current contribution to UK electricity supply, which was about 2.5% last year, that we continue to grow its contribution to energy so that it becomes something that is an irresistible component of an energy minister's vocabulary. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a very good conference. I invite you to visit our stand, and I hope that there is lots of good business being done. Thank you very much.